Okay, so here we have the MX-28AT Robotis um, actuator. The reason I like the AT is because the front part of the motor frame is aluminum, which helps with the heat sinking ability. And the other part about that that I really like is that the holes are already threaded for the screws that come with the motor that are used to attach the motor to various frames. The only thing I really don't like about this is that the back flange, the back part, is made of engineering plastic, and that's fine. It's some really tough stuff. It's really hard to mess it up. It's almost as good as metal, except for the heat sinking capability. But what I don't like is that the back flange, you've got to put these tiny, they're bigger than they are for the AX12, but even so, they're still irritating. You've got to actually add the nuts into the back. I guess that's a good thing if you don't need those. You don't need to mount anything to the back part of the frame, but most of the time we do. So I'm going to show you a hint or two that I try to use to make it a little bit easier to get that nut in there. I'm not talking about the nut filming the video now, just the nut of the motor itself. The nut filming the video would be me, as I'm sure you've already figured out. Okay. I hope this is clear, and if it's not, we're going to have to edit it a little bit. Yeah, we really need to move the light over here, and let's do that. Let's just move the light right on top of everything. That's the only way we're going to make this look right. Get the details in here. I'm just going to set this right down on top of all the other parts that I have at the moment to get the light correct. Shoot. I just ran one screw right the heck off over there. Okay, here we go. Alright, man. Disney, eat your heart out. It doesn't get any better than this production right here. So, here's the best way I have found to get these nuts on here. And that is to take a hex key that is close to the inner bore of the nut. Take one of the nuts, loosely, whoops, totally got that backwards. Okay, so we're wanting to mount this on the back part of these guys right here. So put the hex key, try to get this clear, thread the hex key into the hole of the motor, bring it back up at an angle, take one of the nuts right here, put it on, just slide it onto the hex key like so. Okay, now we can finagle it. That is a highly technical term, people. Years of training to learn to use the word finagle. And having a hard time getting this so it's close enough to show what I'm actually doing. Let's try to bring the camera down. Hopefully it's still focused. There we go. Okay. Okay, like that. Bring the nut. Use your fingers. Better yet, some tweezers to kind of get it in pretty much the right orientation. Okay, and once you kind of got that right, then you take another pair of pliers or something like that, maybe hemostats, and squeeze that till it pops right in there. I think you can see that now. Yep. Bring that back out. That helps keep it from escaping. Okay, there you go. Okay, I think that's pretty solidly in there now. But to make sure, we want to remove the hex key. And then we want to gently place the bolt. I think it's a M2 or M2.5 bolt through there until it just touches the nut. Barely start it threading. Use a hex key. Okay, like that. Use the hex key. Very light pressure, just enough to get it to start threading into the nut. And you can see that it's doing that. You'll feel it if it's not going right. Okay, and then once it's in there, you want to torque it down, only finger tight, but torque it down just enough to pull that nut right into the plastic frame. And that will help secure it. Okay, hopefully that's got that clear enough for you to see there. I'm going to leave that one in place, and we're going to do another one. Because in this case, I want to mount this end of the top half of this motor into a frame. So, let's try to do another one and make it a little bit clearer to see. And to do that, I'm going to try to mount it on top of hay. Boy, if this gets any more technical, you know, I'm going to have to get a Nobel Prize or something. You like that technical mounting facility I got there? Ain't that something? Alright, we're going to raise the camera a little bit more. Action! There we go. Alrighty, hopefully you can see this. I could use some lighting tips from any of you pro video people out there, because I am winging it, people. Alright, I'm going to repeat the process. We're going to do it for this hole right here. Okay? A really bad video, but I'll try to make it better later. Alright, take the Allen key, the free one. Doesn't matter what size, just as long as it's small enough to fit through the hole. Like that. Okay? Grab one of the nuts. Thread it onto the Allen key. Let it slide down like that. And I think it kind of helps if you go ahead and put it through the opposing hole. Helps guide it into place a little bit. Okay. Now you just grab, use your pliers, hemostats or whatever, to position that nut just the right orientation, so that when you take the pliers and you can grab it, kind of wiggle and wobble, squeeze it into the right orientation. Sometimes it's a lot easier said than done. Okay. In this case, I'm going to turn it this way and let myself tap it. Look at that. Sometimes it helps if the pliers are slightly magnetic. Sometimes it doesn't. In this case, they were. Okay. I have that nut into the flange. Oops, hex key slid right out, didn't it? I'm going to try to tap it in there a little bit better. I think that went better. Okay. Once again, we're going to take the bolt, put it in the through hole just barely enough to contact the nut. And sometimes it helps to just use the hex key that matches that screw to maneuver it around until it gets some purchase into the threads of the nut. And there it goes. A little tight, but as we tighten it up, that will cause minute variations to pull that nut right into the place that it should be. Tighten it up a little bit, hand tight, and voila. Now we have two of the nuts exactly where we want them into the mounting bracket. of the back flange of the motor. The front flange, the metal part, the aluminum part in this case, is already threaded. Makes things so much easier. I really wish Robotis had made a version where they had a back part like that. But you can see it is so much easier when it's already threaded and you don't have to worry about those silly nuts. Got enough nuts on the operating table here. Okay. See how that just goes in there so smoothly. Oh yeah. And if only that were attached to a bracket. In this case, I set the ID for this motor off camera in an earlier life to 106. Put a line underneath so that I know it's 106 and not 901. Anyway, a little bit of geek humor there. Alright, that's it. That's how to attach these nuts to the MX-28 actuator. And of course, if you want to do that, you can do that in here. It's a little bit harder for this one because you have to slide it in there, but it pretty much works the same way. And of course, the flip side, exact same operation if you need to do that. This case I don't, so I'm not going to. That's it. Handy dandy video is complete and in the house. Whoops. Yeah, in the house. Alright, we're done. Thank you.